Hello and welcome to the Crafsman Show. My name is your host, the Crafsman. And today, video, Crafsman, baby, where you been? Anytime you get to worrying about old Crafsman, just imagine to yourself inside your man that Crafsman is up out here living the dream of producing animation. I've already mentioned that video is going to be a little more sporadic because this is so time intensive, this animation. But as a quote unquote YouTuber, they tell me that you've got to feed the machine, baby. So I said, well, you could do some streaming. What? And I really like that idea because that means you can literally produce content in real time with no editing involved. Spontaneous. Not only can I show y'all things like music production and editing, but I even figured out which hardware that we could get so that I could use my studio cameras, give y'all some different angles for some excitement. And you can do all these things through OBS, which is a free streaming software. So before I purchase the hardware, I said we need to do a test. All right, let's see. We're streaming. What's this excellent connection? And that's when Crafsman was crushed by the reality. Our internet connection. Crafsman download speeds was very slow. And for anybody who's asked me before wondering, Crafsman, what does your actual internet speed look like? Here you go. For now, Crafsman can't do internet streaming, long story short. But I can at least document some of the things I've been up to.
What's cooking, Crafsman?
Cooking.
Figuring out this backdrop hanger right here. This so I can hang some backgrounds up in my shop, you know. And so this one made out of some metal pipe fittings. And I just got that at the hardware store. And for the rod, we just using a section of PVC conduit. And that's schedule 40, so it's substantial enough to hold up. And my wife very kindly added me a loop at the top of it, which, look at the super convenient. Thank you, baby. If you ever have ordered a backdrop from Amazon or anywhere that it comes folded up real tight, then you know about the creases of indefinite lifespans, creases that will not fall out, creases that just keep increasing. But sometimes a steamer can help you to erase those. But to be honest, for stop motion, I'm going to be less comfortable with a hanging cloth. This more for live actions type things that I can do. But for stop motion, we're going to be probably doing a curved, rigid surface background. What else was Crafsman do? We made I tried to make a little, well, let me just tell you this, right? One of the characters is going to be somewhat of a Mandalorian type of character. And so I wanted to make it a little bit different than what's out there right now. So I went through my Mandalorians in my collection and I said, let's just go ahead and try to give it some extra depth and some dimension. So I got out my eggs of Paxel Sculpt and just went to town with it. I use me some safety solvent so that my knife can glide through without getting stuck. It keep things from sticking. It's good for smoothing the surface. Subtractive modeling is one of my favorite ways to model because, I can't sculpt very well, so I like to just take me a knife and just cut pieces like a puzzle into the shape that I want. Because for hard edge objects, this actually is a good way to do it. Now, why would we use epoxy clay for this? Why not just use super sculpting? Well, because a two-part epoxy clay will cure without the need of an oven or boiling water, heat, Also, because epoxy clay sticks to the surface way better than a polymer clay like super sculpting. The epoxy clay has cured and adhered to the figure. So now we're going to hit the surface with a little sandpaper, or in this case, sanding sponges. We only going to use the sanding sponge very lightly and very carefully. We don't want to round over these edges, alright? And what I like to do, that's just my rough sanding right there. Then we're going to switch over to something like sandpaper, wrapped around this little scrap piece of wood right there. Look at that. That's going to help keep you from rounding over them edges, give you a flat plane to be sanded against. We're going to wipe it down and then start to think about how we're going to paint those. I decided to try this chrome stuff here that I have used in the past. It looks pretty good to me. Before I paint anything chrome looking, I like to put me an underlayment of a black primer down first. For the helmet, I decided to get a little fancy with the Mexican tape. I'm going to put us in a couple 3 drops of airbrush thinner. And by the way, this is not a recommendation or a guideline. I don't really know what I'm doing right here. Always a good idea to test on some cardboard first. Test. That looks like it's going to work. I wasn't as satisfied with how that looked as I thought I would be when I would see how that it looked. So therefore I just was not satisfied with it. For a small scale Lego piece that shot macro style to show up real big on the screen, I did not think that was fine enough. Combine that with the reality of rigorous stop motion animation, dealing with paint that can scratch under friction. I just thought it was better for me to stick with existing Lego figure parts as best as I can. That right there. Crafsman rewatched the Lego movie recently, and although it's computer generated, it showed me just how far they went into making it look physical by having scratches and dirt, dust, etc. And for the environment that we do in here like Tatooine, it needs to look used or lived in, worn out. So in addition to some weathering techniques I've been trying right here, Crafsman is probably going to bring in a load of sand and put it all over my Lego sets. Maybe so. I've also brushed up on my Lego building skills. For example, hold up. MS-DOT. We're going to go. That's right. And we're going to find this is my favorite way to search for things in Windows. It's faster. Directory. Yep. Alright, this PDF file had all kinds of new techniques that I had never even considered before. And I will have a link in the description to this file right here. But the more I learned about building Legos, the more I realized some of the things I already built was not done very efficiently. Look at all of these stacked up plates. Mercy. Craftsman, what you thinking? As much as I hated to take apart this base right here, I knew I would just not be happy with it going forward. Using a block structure between the plates gave me some added depth and saved a ton of Lego plate pieces for my other sets I have to build. Figuring out how to emulate sand and jagged terrain in Lego format has been a fun challenge. This next topic is controversial, so brace yourself for this. For some of the sets, I will be having to judge. I will be gluing something. That's a no-no, and I understand why come it is, but for a stop-motion animation set, especially with a more precarious one like this, look at that. It can definitely help. Crafsman, you need to just take the tower off and film that with an up angle from your camera. You ain't got to worry about the tower file, the skin of the tower file, no. But bottom line, Crafsman, you can't glue Lego. All right, then let's weld them together. What? Lego made out ABS plastic, and to fuse ABS together, I like to use acetone. Acetone will melt your Lego, and that's really how it works. You joining two slightly melted surfaces together, so be discretionary about how that you apply this. Don't want it running all over the place and getting goopy. But it was sharp enough hold them together pretty well. Now, preferential might be to use something like MEK or methyl. What's MEK stand for? Methyl yellow. Even though this project falls into the category of parody, I wanted to be sensitive to the original source materials. So I went into pre-production with a degree of reverence and seriousness, as I was researching. Probably too much seriousness, come to find out, because the more recent Star Wars films, as I watched them, they do not take themselves too seriously. It gave me the inspiration to consider doing things that's completely implausible, But I might not do that. And I was definitely inspired by the Book of Boba Fett series, because there was moments where you could tell, look at that they're just cutting loose and having fun with it. Come on, Crafsman. All right, but for real, look, I have to admit that out of all the Star Wars things produced after the prequel films, for me, the Book of Boba Fett series ranks right up there towards the top. Pretty close with Rogue One. Them two is my favorite things that's come out after episode 3 of the prequels. Something about the character being a little bit older, having to do these things and having a big load on their shoulders, but handling it
like a panther.
So that's what Crafsman's been working on. It's just been a bunch of Legos and a bunch of scripting and trying to line up some, voice actors and things like that. Very exciting. And so I do appreciate your patience while I do this, because it does take some little bit of time. But I'm going to keep trying to make videos like this for y'all. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Until next time, I love y'all and keep on steady crafting. All right.
What's cooking, Craftsman?